Welcome to the Ingress Insights podcast, hosted by Pokemon Trainer Jay. Ingress Insights is a podcast about the Niantic game Ingress. Listen each week for the latest news, updates and rumours. Let us know your thoughts by leaving a voice message or emailing us at the links in the show notes.
Additional intel available.
Hello agents, and welcome to episode 50 of the Ingress Insights podcast. In this week's episode, we'll be talking about changes to bounty rewards and looking ahead to October, as well as a few discussions about portal removals and new features the community wants. There's not been a whole bunch of Ingress news this week because we're at the end of the month and waiting for more details on erased memories, so we'll get those shortly, but for now we'll start running through those little bits of news that we have had happen. First of all, the Ingress Worldwide Stats Competition, which is a agent / fan run competition done every September, is wrapping up on Monday. If you've not submitted your stats, those do need to be submitted every Monday to make sure you're still within the group and you get any relevant rewards or bragging rights for doing the most hacks, most tracker increases, things like that. I did share the link before. I'll share the link back to the group, but it may be a bit too late to join it by Monday if you've not joined it already. But just remember to submit your stats for that whilst it does wrap up. As I discussed in last week's episode, there are 3 new badges that are now available in the store until the 30th of September. And there are the badges from the Shared Memories Anomaly that have come back in the store. All 5 of those kits did come back into the store until the 30th of September. So this is the most badges we've possibly had in the store, being 8 badges as I guessed last time. But if you want to buy any of them, they are 30,800 CMU each and come with basically the same kind of stuff. So it's up to you whether it's worth it and whether you want to get yourself some badges, but they do all go away on the 30th of September, and then presumably when we get more details on erased memories, we'll know what character medals and supporter medals and things like that are coming up, but we don't have any details as yet. We have received an update this week to the app, so that was on the 26th of September, updated to version 2.151.0. In the update notes, they did mention that they updated Dispatch Sync to get bounties updates faster, fix a soft lock after drone hacking, and fix an issue with opening the settings menu on iPad. That's been rolling out over the last couple of days. There was also a small update that was just exclusive to the Android issue on there, where they said an issue with Samsung A20, A22 and A54 phones was also fixed, which interfered with the head tracking using Sony Link Buds. It's not a major update, but it has fixed a few little things on there. As well, it's still got the shared memories icon for the app, so we expect that to be updated to the erased memories one for the next update, presumably in about 2 weeks' time. That's how these things generally go for the app. But if you've not received it already, just go visit your App Store or Play Store and get the latest update from there. Regarding the dispatch bounties, as mentioned, those have been updated. Lots of players are saying they have been nerfed and the rewards have gone down a lot in value based on what they were previously. So, for example, for deploying 8 resonators, you now get rewarded 3 resonators and 1 hypercube. Previously, this was 16 level 6 XMP versus 1 SoftBank Ultralink, or 1 very rare heatsink and 16 level 7 resonators, or 16 level 7 XMP versus 1 SoftBank Ultralink. So that's gone down quite a bit on what agents used to get. The Niantic team did mention they'd be updating these in September, so they left it till kind of the end of the month and didn't really say when it would be happening, but most agents aren't happy with the changes. But it's understood that bounties are more of a thing to get new agents involved in the game, so whether it will change and get better for players that are higher level again, that remains to be seen. If you're not happy with it, then obviously you can leave comments on the Ingress subreddit. It would be the best place to do that, or feed it back in your app. I know I had a surplus of shields and other items from doing the daily bounties, so maybe the item currency was off and that's why they've made this change. But if you're starting to get less from your bounties, you'll know now why that is. As we are getting to the end of September and then looking ahead to October, I just want to run over the events that we know are coming up there. So for October on the 5th, we've got First Saturday, which as normal is attending a First Saturday event in person, going around getting AP with other agents, make sure you're hacking the portal that starts the event, make sure you hand in your stats to the organisers on there, and then getting any rewards that the event organisers have planned out or participating in any other little events that they've got going on there. If you check on the Fev Games website, you'll be able to see if there's any events in your area. And then from the 12th to the 27th of October, it's the Erased Memories Global campaign, similar to ones that we've had for previous anomalies. So you can obtain the two-tiered Erased Memories Operation medal through the global operation. We don't know yet what that involves and what agents will be asked to do, but that will be coming up, so hopefully we'll have details soon. And then the 13th of October is Second Sunday, and that takes place from 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. local time. This time round, you can complete the Second Sunday campaign and increase your Second Sunday medal by 1 count. This is changing for this quarter, so we don't know what the expectation will be. It's likely it will use the campaign system, and you'll get details there and see what you have to do. It sounds like you'll still be able to complete missions, but it also sounds like you may be able to submit scans or do other things to get your Second Sunday medal up by 1 count. So do keep checking your scanner and see if there's any update on there. Once I see anything come up, then I'll share it on the podcast, obviously. But that's all we've got for October. There's no XM anomaly in October. Those are coming up in November and December. And then we've got one scheduled for 2025 as well. But nothing for October for the XM anomaly, just the global operation there. That's about it for Ingress news from the Ingress team, official source, things like that for this week. So what I'm going to do now is move into some ideas that agents had for new game features and mechanics, as well as FitRep reward ideas. So I'm going to start with FitRep first of all.
Hi, this is HP Lola, and you're listening to the Ingress Insights podcast.
A few months back, I posted up on the Ingress subreddit about what agents would want as FitRep rewards. As you may know, if you heard me talk about them before, this is something that was mentioned as planned for Q1 2022 and then never materialized. Other things got prioritized, FitRep rewards got deprioritized. In the other games, you get rewards for walking certain distances each week. So say if I walk over 50 kilometers in Pokemon Go, I get a Pokemon egg that will have certain Pokemon in that will be a bit rarer than usual and be able to hatch that, so it encourages you to walk more as part of the exercise exploration parts of Niantic's games. I'm going to run through a few comments here of what people had ideas for FitRep rewards, and apologies if I get anyone's names incorrect on here from reading them out. So Grogyan said a very rare kinetic capsule would be a great thing to have. And someone else noted as well 56 kilometers for one rare kinetic capsule would be lovely. Other people said that 8 kilometers should be one rare kinetic capsule, 24 being 2, 56 being 3, and 128 being 4 rare kinetic capsules. I think that's a lot of rare kinetic capsules to be giving out, but I like that they're aiming high on there. Pixel Bytes 1331 mentioned maybe a kind of point system where agents can exchange for rewards like Lodite items or badges exclusive from the point shop that rotates around. I do see seasonal point shops in other games that happen occasionally, and you earn points from there and then they go at the end of the season, so possible thing that may happen. Spanner Daniel says to work out whatever's on a par with Pokemon Go and then distribute that based on the distance tiers. Purple K-Cap seems to translate fairly well from Breaking Incubators. Few people mention that the FitRep rewards items don't show in the first place anyway to say how far you've walked reliably. An agent called the Aura Storm 13 says, I'd like a badge for it, let's get a point for each threshold. Every week it could be a slow burn like Epoch. It supports my mission of promoting people exploring and being active and gives people an incentive to engage with these features. Another agent called Designer Dig 8441 says, call me mad, but there should be a low chance of spawning a key lock for completing multiple weekly streaks of 56 kilometers. Other agents mentioned getting kinetic capsules for keys or key duplicators. So it seems like overall people want kinetic capsules for doing it, whether they duplicate keys, whether they're just the usual rare ones. That seems to be what people think, and I guess it would keep you going if you knew that you could do 56 kilometers, get a rare kinetic capsule every week. I think it would encourage people to get out there and do more. I'll link to this thread if you want to browse through the other comments that I've not necessarily gone through on there. If you want to add details in yourself, then you can do that. Or if you're Brian or Thea listening and you want some ideas, there's plenty in that thread as well. The next one of these posts I want to cover was regarding new game mechanics. So just a reminder, at the Hackadate after party, it was reported that Brian Rose said that new game mechanics and features are being worked on and will be tested through field tests. So as they poke their heads in every now and then, I thought it'd be useful to see what agents want. There's quite a lot of comments on this one so far, so I'm not going to read through all of them. I'm just going to do the kind of top 10 or so. Again, apologies if I get anyone's Reddit name incorrect on here when I'm going through this. So first of all, from a user called HeavyChip2915, they mentioned archival storage for souvenir keys. So once added, those keys cannot be used for linking or recharging, or removed if the portal itself gets removed. Keys in this memorial space don't count towards inventory limits, rather like key lockers, but without the ability to pull the keys out and use them strategically. Could make a new capsule type that's paid with no purchase limit so that prolific submitters or world travelers can keep as many souvenirs as they like or need without giving undue strategic advice to purchasers. It's not paid to win, it's paid to remember. Argle Bargle 321 mentions that when we first launched Ingress in 2012, we had the ability to remove mods and add a new one. The remove mod would simply dissolve into the network and wouldn't get it back. I personally have missed this for 10 years. That's not something I remember happening, but obviously I wasn't playing right at the start. Quebec 0212, I don't know whether that's an O or a 0. They mention marking favourite keys or even better tags for keys. I know in Pokemon Go you can do tags for your Pokemon. I've not done that until very recently. I know it's been a feature that's been around for a while, so I think it'd be great to do that for keys as well. Retro Racer 23 mentions something for recurse agents, more avatars, a journal of sorts like Pokemon Go to see our activities for a few days at least. And then the last three for now, Alexis JM asked for a new map layer that lets me see both unexplored and uncaptured portals at the same time. Separating them never made much sense. Exclusion N says any feature that isn't AR or requires scans would be good in my book, apart from the obvious fix bugs first. And Unium Trium says I want to link to the moon, so finally getting the lunar intel map on there. So this is just to see what agents did want. As I said, Thea and Brian do poke their heads in the subreddit from time to time, so maybe there's some things in there they've not thought of and got planned out. So I thought I'd just see what agents wanted and what ideas they could come up with. As I mentioned, I think in the start of the post, or somewhere, I mentioned that Brian Rose does a Pikmin Bloom party walk every week, and does ones that are labelled for anomalies. So my guess would be that will come to Ingress at some point soon, and maybe a way when they can implement the Niantic Friends system, so you can go and challenge everyone to get the most points on Trekker or something like that. It may extend further, so you have a friendly competition, seeing who can capture the most portals, blow up the most resonators, things like that, in a small group, and then get small rewards for that. That would be my idea for something that would help agents explore and be social, exercise, all the usual Niantic pillars there. But if you've got any ideas, you can post them in the Reddit or add a comment on the podcast and let me know from there. Next up, I'm going to talk about something I said I would talk about for a little while now, that's evolved into being a bit of a feature. So this is going to be me talking about removals and the Foursquare and Overture stuff that's happened recently in the Niantic games.
What's up? This is Smooth Guy O, and you listen to the Ingress Insight podcast.
I have to go a bit further back in the history of Ingress and Niantic to start this off. So currently, the Niantic database is known as Lightship. So this is where any new wayspots get added to, and they then sync to the map from there. This didn't used to be the case. It used to be that Ingress was the main map, so anything for the other games would get added to Ingress first of all, and then sync to the other games such as Pokemon Go. So anything had So anything that got added had to meet Ingress's rules first of all, so not being within 20 meters of an existing portal, and it could then sync to the other games such as Pokemon Go and meet their inclusion rules. This changed a little while ago, and as a result of that, Ingress took things from the Lightship map, which included some Foursquare portals that got imported in that had no picture, no description or anything like that. Most agents regarded them as garbage portals, whereas many Pokemon Go players just saw it as extra stops to spin and get items from, and not too fussed about what they were in general. I think it's worth noting here that Foursquare has been around for quite some time, so I used it myself as a check-in kind of app long before Ingress was around, or at least I knew Ingress was around. And it's mostly businesses, parks, cafes, things like that that are added on there for people to check into and claim a mayorship over, gamify it by badges, things like that. It seemed that where Niantic had used Foursquare to import things to the map in smaller markets such as India, they hadn't done any checks or filtering or anything like that on it. I've looked through a sample database from Foursquare to see what they have on there. It could be easily filtered down in 10-15 minutes to get rid of things that no longer exist, are closed, or not suitable for being on Ingress or Niantic maps such as K-12 schools and fire stations, things like that. But for whatever reason, they didn't take time to do it. I know Thea's comment originally when the first Foursquare portal started popping up was that agents could simply add a new photo to them and earn 500 AP. I appreciate trying to turn it into a positive, but it's not something many agents took as a positive on there, unfortunately. Fast forward to a few years later, and the Ingress team decided to remove all Foursquare portals from Turkey, and this somehow ended up leading that all Foursquare portals all over the world were removed from Ingress. These portals still exist as way spots within Niantic's Lightship system. As I said, Ingress is no longer the main database now. So this does mean that if there's something eligible, so say Foursquare portal was a cafe in your local area that got added, you then go to nominate it via Wayfarer and get it approved. Because it's already in the database and still exists there, it would get correctly marked as a duplicate and not appear as a portal, even if it meets inclusion rules and should be added to the map. So it's a bit of a tricky situation, especially as we don't have a duplicates map when submitting new things like you get in Pokemon Go. Unfortunately, Niantic don't seem to really care, or the Ingress team don't seem to care that there's this issue. I think agents have complained before and basically been told, oh, just submit something else, which isn't great when there may not be much in the area to submit that's not already on there as part of an import. I will add as well that there was another import done for the now closed NBA All World game. If you want to hear more about NBA All World, there's a special Inverse Insights episode about that you can listen to. But there was an import done from a website called Courts of the World, where they were added to NBA All World and Pokemon Go. They were not added to Ingress, but again, the same issue came up where if the court already existed, it was in the Lightship system. So when agents tried to nominate it, it came back as a duplicate, and then again, didn't appear in Ingress, even if it met those inclusion rules on there. So agents are running short on what they could submit, especially in areas where things are limited. Like I said, I don't know if this is the fault of the Ingress team, Niantic in general, the Wayfarer team, or anyone on there. I'm just saying what the situation is with these and the duplicates that now come from it. And it's just an annoying problem in many areas now. Swinging back to removals, as I mentioned, the Ingress team removed all the Foursquare portals from their map, but I want to talk about general removals as to why you might want a portal to be removed. Currently, the way to do this is by tapping the portal and then tapping report, and you can report it for the following reasons. So if there's no pedestrian access, so something in the middle of a roundabout, for example, if it obstructs or interferes with emergency services, if it's on private residential property, Just this has been clarified in the Wayfarer criteria recently. It's single family residence, private residential property. So if it's a block of flats with a mural on the side, that's fine because it's not a single family that lives there, if that makes sense. Schools, so K to 12 schools, it's an American thing, so K to 12 means nothing to me, but it's basically kindergarten, the initial like reception years, whatever it's called in your country, to 12 years old. So generally like primary school, high school ages on there, you can't have anything there. If the portal or way spot has been permanently removed from the location, so say it's a statue or something that's since been knocked down, or it was a temporary art installation that's since been removed, or if it's a duplicate of another portal, you can then report it for removal as well. You get 40 reports initially, and then you'll get an email when it's been sent off to the team, and an email come back when they make a decision. If you don't agree with the decision, you can raise that on the Wayfarer community forums, where they'll have a little form as part of the post to complete on there to give the details such as why it should be removed and any additional evidence. In Pokemon Go, as I mentioned last time, there is now a free comments box on there where Niantic encourage you to add links to things like Gaussian splats or images, articles, things like that that say no longer exists or it is an active fire station, something like that, if you want to get it removed. And they said that is coming to Ingress. Niantic Thib said, yes, we are working with the Ingress team to have them level up the takedown option. I've not heard it referred to as the takedown option, but makes sense on there that it will flow out to the other games as well. Often you see that there's factions that compete to get portals removed where other factions may use it as an anchor. That's not something you can report it for. It doesn't matter about your faction wars in what's the way spot, what's not. It has to be something that's one of those on there. There is also another way of reporting things. Generally, this is when it's gone a bit too far. So this is reporting abuse in Wayfarer. So I just want to cover that as well. I'll link to this form, but I want to run through what it says you can report on there. So you should report offensive or abusive title, description, supporting statements. So attempts to add an offensive title or description to a live way spot. Title, description, supporting statements, edits that mention code names, real names or other personal information of players. Titles, descriptions or supporting information that attempt to inappropriately influence the reviewer's photo-specific way. So many times in OPR I would see please rate this 5 stars in the comments on there. So that would be when you could take that to report and say that they're trying to influence you to accept this and then provide relevant details on the form. Invalid location edits, so attempts to move the way spot to a location away from the object with which it's associated. For example, moving the way spot to a different city/country. I'd say the main thing that I see for invalid location edits is people trying to move things to a different cell to make the way spot/portal appear in Pokemon Go. If they're moving it off the object, it's an invalid location edit. The Niantic team will generally say whether it's good to stay there or not. You can raise that in the help chat as well. Issues with photos can also be reported, so photos with explicit or inappropriate content, photos with watermarks or other copyright information, attempts to intentionally add unrelated photos to the location can be reported as well. Inappropriate behavior by an explorer, so if you experience inappropriate behavior from other explorers such as bullying, harassment or threats, you can report that via this form as well. And then finally, the last one you can report in this form is fake nominations or criteria issues. So the way spot/nominations that do not exist in the location or blatantly do not match our eligibility or acceptance criteria. I will probably, if I remember, link to one where I submitted something in London many months ago, and then I saw it come up in review on Wayfarer for a completely different city and town. It wasn't my photo, it was one they'd probably taken from Google Street View, but I recognised it had the little plaque on it that said St Pancras that they'd forgotten to remove, and it was nowhere near St Pancras, so that was a bit of a weird one to me that I did report and some action got taken. I have no idea what. But let's note that when you make a report, you should include the title of the wayspot, the location, that can be an Intel map link, I've used that before, the reason for reporting, the details about the abuse if applicable, so if you know any names you can attach those, and any additional information detail the report. When you send the report in, you'll then get email back from the team, and you can then reply to that email with additional information such as geotagged photos, videos, links, articles, anything like that you want to share. They're generally pretty quick when they come back on this form, and though they won't tell you the actions taken, they will tell you if they've taken action, or if they may say they've retire a way spot on there, or restore it if it's one that's been removed and you think that was an abusive removal. They can do that for you as well. But that's the basics of it on there. I'll link to that reporting abuse in Wayfarer form, and you can complete that and let me know how that goes if you are reporting anything on there. One final thing to note about removal / Wayfarer. If you don't play Pokemon Go, you may not know that recently they did an import from Overture Maps. Niantic joined the Overture Maps Foundation a little while back, and what they decided to do for a new type of point of interest in Pokemon Go is use that map to import a load of generic businesses and random things from the map into the game, and those now appear as points of interest called power spots in Pokemon Go. They do not exist on the Wayfarer maps. You won't see them as duplicates when you go to review. They have pulled some stuff that was in Ingress or previously only on the Niantic Lightship map. Most of it, however, is these imports of random things mostly. So there's things based at people's houses or random businesses on there. You can report them in Pokemon Go. You can tap I think it's the question mark first and then the exclamation mark, and choose a report reason on there. You don't currently get an email or anything, so no idea whether those are being actioned. I just want to kind of issue a bit of a warning on there if you do Wayfarer, that the power spots don't meet Wayfarer criteria really, but people may try and nominate similar things because it's the usual adage of they see them on the map, they think they're eligible. So if you do see more coal coming through Wayfarer, that may be the cause of it. I don't know if the Pokemon Go team are going to do anything about it. I don't know how much they care about that. I don't know how much the player base cares. Again, it's just more stuff to interact with. It's got no photos or anything like that. I just want to give a bit of a heads up on there for anyone that doesn't follow what's going on with Pokemon Go. That being said, I'm going to move on now and get things wrapped up. Thank you, Agents, for listening to episode 50 of Ingress Insights. Can't believe I've done 50 episodes. It seems a bit crazy. It'll be almost a year since I started the podcast soon. Next week, we'll likely be looking at things from Erased Memories as well as the Global Op. I'll be planning out things to do for the 1 year anniversary podcast episode that I'll drop at some point. I also want to mention that recently I've started doing an Ingress Insights TikTok, so that's just at ingress.insights on TikTok. For now, it has just shorts that have been chopped from old episodes. It will add more recent episodes shortly. And these are also going on Instagram as Reels and YouTube as Shorts on there for just little bursts of Ingress Insights. In addition to all of that, I do have a new episode of Inverse Insights planned for October, which will be the first non-Niantic game. I'll probably try and release it around Halloween because that kind of fits for the game that it is. But I'll see if I can get a little teaser done before then. But till next time, I hope you have a great day and you get out and do lots of hacking. I'll leave you with the pre-recorded wrap-up now. Thank you, Agents, for listening to the latest episode of the Ingress Insights podcast. If you'd like to follow us on social media, you can do that on a few channels. So on Threads under the name ingress.insights, on Instagram under the name ingress.insights as well. Our Twitter/X, which posts episodes of the podcast, is under Ingress Insights, no dot in that one. And you can also watch these episodes on YouTube under Ingress Insights Podcast. You can send us a voice message by visiting the podcaster's Spotify page. And finally, you can buy Ingress Insights merch, such as mugs, pins, t-shirts, by going to freepublic.com/user/ingress-insights. And on there, you'll see all the designs that we've got listed at the moment. There are some new ones that will be coming up at some point soon, but you can buy your Ingress Insights mug, hats, t-shirts, tote bags, anything like that you want. Thank you again for listening. Hope you tune in next week. If you do like the show, please do rate it on the podcast service you're listening to. I look forward to speaking with you all about Ingress again.
Intel package transferred.